Hi, welcome back to the farm. My name's Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. Since making the hay bale ring cover thing, there really hasn't been a lot of rain, so I don't know if it's going to work or not. The sheep are happy eating the hay, and it seems to be okay. We've had a little bit of I think we had one day with some rain, and it held up to that. So it'll just be if it can hold up to more intense and longer periods of rain. But yeah, they're still enjoying that hay, which is great. It means I don't have to be down here putting bits of a smaller bale out every day. We do have to be filling up their water baths quite regularly. Adam helped to clean out the one that is close that we can just pop the hose straight in from outside of the paddock. It had gotten a little bit grotty. They tend to eat, and then while they're still eating, they go in for the water, and so that it ends up with all hay and crap in it. So yeah, that's been cleaned out, nice fresh water. And I've kept them out of the shed grass area that's closed off. And we've been running the sprinkler out there. I got just a little sprinkler from Coles, so it doesn't have a very big spray radius. And we're able to pop it in the paddock just out here. And we've been running it for 40, 50 minutes or so, just in the evenings to try and give this area a bit of encouragement to grow, because it does feel like the rain has dried up now. Who knows? But it does feel like we're starting to get much drier. The grass, even out in the paddocks now, is starting to go a little bit yellow. So if we can, while we have the full tanks, which is fabulous, we are able to use a little bit of that water very, mindfully to make sure that we can continue to water the plants if we need to, or particular parts of the garden, and to keep that grass hopefully growing a little bit so that they're not on hay the whole time. And I can get them hay for a little while and then open up and give them some green, and then sort of rotate them back and forth over these next few months while it's quite warm and hot. And speaking of the full tanks, we've now switched one of the tanks off so that if for any reason a tap is dripping or a hose bursts or whatever, we're not going to lose all of our water. That'd be a really terrible thing to happen, considering that both tanks are extremely full right now. So by doing that, we can isolate one and keep that full, and then just use one and then turn it so that then we can use the other one later on. So it's sort of a little bit of a safety net that we have so that you don't end up draining all of the water if something bad happens. I did a little bit more blackberry spraying this past week. And normally when I go out to do it, everything's all ready to go. So the trailer is hooked onto the back of the Hilux. All I have to do is just fill the tank and go. But this past week, the Hilux was not attached to the trailer. And that's because we use the Hilux for taking the bins down to the bottom of the driveway, or for refilling the water up at the chook tractor. So it's easier for Adam to take the trailer off to do all of those jobs than to have it carting around with him for no reason. So I had to put the trailer back on myself. So he had showed me how to do it, and he had stood behind and done, the reversing back and telling me which hand down, all that kind of thing, to show me how to do it. So I had done it once with his help, and then this time I had to do it all by myself. The Hilux is not the easiest vehicle to maneuver. It also doesn't have reversing cameras, and the tow ball is so low, and the mirrors and everything, you cannot see the back. So it really is a guessing game. But I was so pleased with how I did. I took it really slowly, and I just reversed back a little bit and kind of got myself reasonably straight from a fair way back, and then reversed. I wasn't sure in terms of how close I was going to get, but I ended up being about this close from the tow ball and the trailer. And then because the trailer was completely empty, I was able then to just sort of pull and maneuver it on and get it all connected and locked away. So I was very pleased with myself, because I wouldn't say that I am a great reverser, and especially in that big Hilux and not being able to see the back and everything. So I was able to get all that set up and done and get it all organized and away when no one else was there to help. So that was fabulous. So we've now sprayed the front finger post paddock and the dam paddock, and we have now done about a third of the One Tree Hill paddock. So we're close to having done all of the paddocks for this season, but I'm thinking that we might be getting a call soon to say that the rig needs to be moved on to someone else. Not that we won't be able to get it back, but then it'll be probably another month or so before we do. And then the grass will have grown a little bit and it'll be much harder to see those blackberries. So today's going to be super hot, so it's not a day for being out doing that kind of thing. And with now working 3 days a week, the same 3 days a week, it's more difficult now to find those days that are the perfect spray days on the days that I'm available. You know, I want to do other things on the weekend. I want to be in here dyeing yarn. I went to Creswick this past weekend, which I'll talk about soon. And so finding those days to get that spraying done has been a little difficult, but I've got, I think 4 sessions in so far, which is not too bad. Because obviously you can't do it when it's windy, too hot, rainy. So it has to be still, not wet, you know, just right. It needs to be a just right kind of day. And another thing away from the farm this week is that we went and saw Rent, the musical, at the Estate Theatre. I saw it back when it very first came out here to Australia, and I was super excited to go see it again. I love the soundtrack, and the performance was really great. We were actually front row, which was different. You kind of ended up having like full on eye contact with the performers, which I hadn't done before. And because like Rent is very raw and there's not a lot of set dressing and there's no orchestra or anything in front, so we were sort of in the orchestra section of the stalls that they add extra seats in, and the band for the performance was behind the set at the back on the stage. So we were very, very close. So we were getting some of the like fake snow down on us. And during the scene where Maureen is wanting everyone to moo, we were feeling pressure, like they were coming down right in front of us and getting us to moo as well. So we were sort of a little bit involved in some of the acts as well. It felt very close. And emotional as it is, if you've seen the story, but it was just a really great performance. So if you get a chance, you should go see it. I really enjoyed it. The cast were really great, and it was just a great show. So as I said, I went up to Creswick this past weekend. I actually went on Sunday and went directly to Daylesford, and it wasn't for a tea time yarn retreat market, but it was to meet with Barley from Tea Time. So she is releasing a pattern, a knitting pattern, for a cowl called the Clementine Cowl. It will be released on the 10th of March. And she touched base with me because she wanted to use some of my yarn to do some samples. And so we had a bit of a chat about it. And we agreed that we would do a little bit of a collaboration. So I have been dyeing DK yarn in variegated and solid colors that would make a really good match to put together, to put into packs for these cowls. So I took up pretty much all the DK that I had dyed up, and I did mention that I had something going on with that, and we laid it all out on the table. And she went through, and together we chose color combinations that can be used for this cowl. So there is a ripple section, and then there is a textured section. So through the rippled section, with the amount of yarn that is being given in the pack that I have, so it's 2 of the solid color in most of the packs. It's 2 solids and 1 variegated. What we imagined is through the ripple section, you would use mostly the variegated, but stripe it with the solid, but with like thinner stripes of the solid and like thicker of the variegated. And then you would use the rest of the solid for the textured section of the cowl. And it would make a cowl that you could loop around. So you would get different parts and different colors depending on how you put this cowl on. So she is now doing a sample with one of the color packs that we created, and she's then going to be putting those together with the pattern, some stitch markers, and they will be available at the Mooroolbark Yarn Festival, which is on the 17th of March. So she's launching the pattern on the 10th, and then the packs will be available from her stall on the 17th of March. I will not be at Mooroolbark, so it's kind of good. I'll have some yarn there. And so if you would like to check out the pattern and get some of my yarn, please go to Bali's stall, the Tea Time Yarn Retreat stall. I will be coming back from my cruise on that day, so I decided that it was just going to be too much to try and get to a market after that. So yeah, it's nice to sort of be at the market without being at the market. And I'm excited to be working with her on these. It's going to be really pretty. I might even take away a set of my own yarn to make a cowl while I'm on the cruise. Haven't decided what projects I'm going to do yet, so that could be one that would be a great one to work on while I'm away. So having said that, pretty much all of the DK yarn that I've been dyeing up these past few weeks is all gone, not available. Only available in these kits that Bali will have at the market. I now need to dye up a whole lot more DK yarn so that I have some in my shop and so that I have some for my markets coming up later in the year. There are only a few random skeins left on my website that we couldn't match up with any other colours. So if you are looking for DK yarn in any of my colourways, please just send me a message. If you go to the DK section on my website, there's a dyed to order link at the top of the page. So all you need to do is click on that and it will open up a message form, and you can just let me know what you want and I can dye that to order. But I will be trying to get some more up on the site. I just not sure where I'm going to find the time in the next few weeks, especially when I also want to dye up some of the sport weight yarn and the template yarn that I showed you last week. Yeah, I feel like I want to do all the things right now, and there's just not enough time in the day. So see what we can get through. But yeah, as I said, if there's anything that you want particularly that's not up on the site, just send me a message and hopefully I can help you out. First to what I'm wearing this week. As you can see, I'm wearing the Daybreak Tee that I showed you last week. Didn't take long to finish. I think I did it in under a week, the whole thing. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I'll pop in some footage so you can see the whole thing when I stand up. I did end up adding a little bit of extra length in the shoulders and the arms. I'm not sure that it was the right decision now because it's kind of puckering a little bit, but it is only just fitting. So I don't know. I guess with t-shirts and stuff, it does kind of sit like that anyway. So I think it's okay. So everything is to pattern except for the shoulders just at the top. What I did is I bound off the front and the back as per the pattern and just left the shoulders on the needles. And then I did maybe, I think it was about 9 additional rows on the back and 7 additional rows on the front. So because there's no short row shaping in the back, so I wanted the back to be a little higher than the front. I didn't want the front to be sort of sitting like way up here. So I kind of have the back a little higher. Then it's got a 3 needle bind off across the top. So the only difference was that I just added a few extra rows through here just to give a little bit more shaping and also to make the armholes slightly bigger, but they're not huge. So yeah, really happy. It feels really nice on, sits well, and was a really quick, easy knit. And I have plenty of the yarn left. So I made it from this recycled denim. And I have, this ball is like the smallest of the two. So I've almost got like a full ball and this left. So I am pretty sure that I could make another one or another similar kind of tee from what's left, but then I kind of have two tops that look exactly the same. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but I probably will end up making myself something else that's similar, or maybe change the pattern, like use the same pattern but change the design up here. I haven't decided yet, and I didn't want to jump straight back into doing the exact same thing, but I know that I will be able to make something else. So having finished that, needed to cast on something else. I've been thinking about, so this yarn was from the Unwind cruise last year in January, and I was thinking I should probably use some more stash from that trip so that I can justify buying more in the trip that's coming up in a few weeks. So I looked in my stash and I had 2 skeins that I bought from Yarn Trader. So I wanted to make something with that. So I've got this, which is Harvest Fingering by Earth Yarns. It's made in Turkey. And this is the cinnamon colorway. It's a 100% extra fine superwash merino fingering weight yarn. And then I also have this with my hair hanging off the bottom, which is a Yarn Trader yarn, and it's their Studio Light 4-ply 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon in the Tea in the Garden color. So I had those 2, which I had I bought intending to put them together. Now that I've wound them and started knitting, I'm not entirely sure, but I'll get to that in a minute. So then I thought probably a 3-color shawl, just so that I can make it go a little bit further, because 2 may not actually be big enough. So I found it's the Mosaica shawl by Amanda Schwab. So it's a mosaic slip stitch pattern with sections of texture. And I had grabbed this out of my stash. It was already wound, and I thought it was probably a nice color that actually does go with, oh, that's terrible, does go with those. I think this was from Yarn versus Zombies Who No Longer Dies, and I think this was from one of her clubs. I should have the tag somewhere, but I don't know where it is. But it doesn't matter because she doesn't die anymore anyway. So that was my original thought, and I've started, and I love the texture and the pattern's super easy to read. I'm using the written instructions, but it also has fully charted instructions as well. I think it's now a paid for pattern, but when it was first released, there was a free offer, and I think I got it for free. So this is what I've done. This is what I've done so far. So it's got this section with the white dots coming through, and then you've got a section of texture, and then you've got a section with the opposite dots coming through, and then there's other sections of different mosaic patterns and alternating the colors. But I'm not sure that it's actually working. I feel like the cinnamon is a little too, I don't know, solid, a little too dark. I do like how the green's coming out, but it is a very different base to the other 2. So it is much more drapey than this section, but then also this is like double, so I have to take that into account. But I mean, it's pretty, but I'm not sure that I 100% like it. My issue now is that I've cut this, so this section of yarn is going to be pretty much trash if I decide to pull it out. So I've kind of paused, and I'm thinking about what my potential colorway could be instead. So I grabbed out of my stash another Yarn versus Zombies colorway. This is called New Who. It does have some sparkle in it, but it's not overly sparkly. But I'm wondering if this might be better, maybe even instead of the cinnamon. I think this is a definite for it. And I think that would be really pretty with that, and maybe I use that and that instead of the dark color. And then maybe, I don't know, maybe try the cinnamon as the texture, or go back into the stash and see if I can find something else and pull another color out of here. Maybe go with a pink or even a yellow or a teal. I don't know, but I'm just finding this is a little bit too, I don't even know what the word is. It's not me, and I know that I won't wear this. So I'm gonna have to relook at colors. The other thing too, which has annoyed me now that I've gotten into the next section, is I realized that you can see along this edge how the colors are carrying, and it looks really, like, I don't like it. It looks really messy that you can see these strands of color along the edge. And originally I'm like, oh, that's okay. I can just like do a chain around the outside or whatever, but I really don't like it. Because I forgot that what you can do, and I did it here. See how the different, oh, there we go. I did it here. I slipped the first stitch, popped the other yarn to the back when I'm going to start using it, and then started knitting. So it's wrapping to the back and not coming around the side. I don't know. So that's been explained really terribly, but it's much cleaner edge than I was creating there. So I'm pretty sure that I am going to rip this out. I just need to decide what I want to do instead, because I'm just not liking this. I love the color that's in the pattern. It really works, and that's why I was trying to go for something that was really bright compared to the other. But I think that it's the cinnamon that's the problem. I think it makes this section feel too solid. And maybe if I do the green and switch those around, I don't know. I'm going to have a think, maybe do some little swatches and see, use these bits of yarn that I've already cut to do some little tests of different combinations of colors. They looked nice just sitting in the balls, but you kind of don't really know how they're going to play out until you put them into the pattern itself. So, you know, it happens sometimes. Sometimes the colors in a project just work, and you don't have to think about them too much. But this time it's just, I don't know. I mean, they're great, but it's just not. I'm just not happy with them. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I look forward to seeing you next week on the farm. Bye.